The sharper the knife, the easier it is to dull. The more wealth you possess, the harder it is to protect. Pride brings its own trouble. When you have accomplished your goal, simply walk away. It's from the Tao Te Ching. I draw heavily on the Tao Te Ching. It's very useful wisdom, knowledge in that book. A lot of experience goes into writing that book. There's actually a belief that, or a theory, that Lao Tzu was not one man, but actually a multiplicity of men that actually wrote that book. But that's pointless. That's doesn't really matter how many people wrote that book. There's a lot of wisdom in it, and I think that it's useful. The sharper the knife, the easier it is to dull. When you have accomplished your goal, simply walk away. That's useful. I like that. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Especially, well, it's difficult in general because we want to be proud of what we've done. And I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with it. If we've accomplished something, we want to be proud of it. I wrote a book, The Struggle for Identity. I wrote that book. And I want to be proud of it. I want to promote it. I want people to buy it. Yeah. I want people to think about the ideas in that book. But the last thing said there was, once you have accomplished something, walk away. Don't get too sucked into that's interesting. Don't get too sucked into letting the world know who you are and what you've done. Let other people do it for you. It says it in here, in the Tao Te Ching. I'm sure quite a few people are going to hate me, but hey, screw it. It says it in here too, in the Bible. I actually just read it just a few seconds before starting this thing. Well, just before picking up the Tao Te Ching. It said, let other people praise you, not your own mouth. The sharper the knife, the easier it is to dull. The more you talk about yourself, the less people want to hear you. The more you walk around puffed up, the less people care. And when the shit hits the fan in your own life, you can put money on it. People are going to walk away from you because they're going to figure, you know what? This guy thinks he's got all that shit. This guy thinks he's all that. Let him prove it now. And you don't want to be in that position. Trust me. You do not want to be in a position where people abandon you because you ran your mouth too much. I've been in that position. Ran my mouth too much, and everybody runs off from me. Ha. It's a foolish position to be in. I don't think that it's useful. I think, I made a comment in my first... No, not my first one. In one of my other episodes. Wouldn't it be interesting if instead of seeking attention, we sought wisdom? I think that it's necessary that we start looking for wisdom instead of attention. Now, from a business perspective, attention is survival. Yeah. I'll quote Grant Cardone on that all day long. I've worked in marketing. I've done graphics design. I've pushed my own page on Facebook. I've pushed our podcast on Facebook. I've done a lot of seeking attention. And I think that there's a place for that and a time for that. There's a time and place for everything. But I think people find it dull if any time they talk to you, you sound like, as I say, a broken record. You're always talking about yourself. I told my dad this in one day when he went to do one of his television programs. That, look, my dad is excellent at backing up everything that he says with documentation. And that's good. He's a newsman. That's what he does. But I told him this. I said, Dad, people want to hear what you think about what you're showing them, not just what you have to show them. And the same thing applies to anybody. It's great, you've accomplished something. But people want to know what you think about what you've accomplished. And they want to know, can you think outside of, I'm the greatest? I did this great job. But how do you know that it couldn't have been done better by somebody else? If all you do is talk about yourself, you become boring. If all you do is promote yourself, you become uninteresting. Don't ever overdo anything. Moderation in all things. If there's anything we should learn, moderation in all things. I like cigars. Moderation in all things. I smoke one cigar every 2, 3, 4 days. Because it's not necessary. It's not a life. It's not necessary for survival. I like to drink. Moderation in all things. And you know what? Same thing applies to our social media life. And I'm thinking specifically of one girl that I personally know. She's always taking these pictures, always running them through the filters, and then posting them on Instagram. They look nothing like who she actually is. But it's only about her. It's never about anything else. And that's boring. It's much less attractive than showing someone who you actually are. Can we get past the superficial display of what we want the world to see. Can we present to the world who we actually are and take pride in that? That's my social media challenge to you. That's my thought for this weekend. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you again. And hey, if you're liking it, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me how ugly I am if you want to. Or give me something to think about. Say something in the comments section that I can take and think about. Because I love to think about stuff as deep as I could possibly get it. I'm not the smartest. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a member of the intellectual dark web. But I am going to say I love to think. Give me something to think about. You guys have fun.